Hello, I'd like to welcome you to my little webinar here, seminar on the Lowrance Gen 2 and Gen 3 touch setup. A little bit about me. My name is Kurt Hedquist. I'm a Navionics Marine Specialist, and my business name is Kurt Hedquist Outdoors, and you can find me on Facebook and the interwebs at Kurt Hedquist Outdoors. I work part-time for Doc Sampson, aka Dr. Sonar, and I'm also on the Lowrance pro staff, been there for about 4 or 5 years, and maybe it's pushing 6 now. Anyway, I just want to, what we're going to go over tonight is just a setup of Lowrance Gen 2 and Gen 3 here. But just a couple more notes here. Make sure you check out Doc's Facebook page and his website called drsonar.com. And also check out his tutorial DVDs. He has a number of tutorial DVDs on various items such as understanding sonar, structure scan. He's got some tutorials on the older legacy Gen 1, Gen 2 type Lowrance stuff. He is also coming out with a Gen 3 DVD here shortly, so watch his website and his Facebook page. Again, I'd highly recommend you guys stop by if you're on Facebook, like his Facebook page. We got a lot of great information on understanding sonar on there. Some more about me is I fish walleye tournaments with my son Mac in the Minnesota, Wisconsin area. That's a picture of us right down there. We won a tournament together in 2012, I believe it was. And so anyway, we had a good time fishing some walleye tournaments and things like that. This is being recorded for the internet, and I'm going to edit it, and it will be put up. What I'm going to be using tonight is I'm going to be using Gen 3, and it's with Wi-Fi. It's hooked up to the Go Free app, and then I'm streaming the webinar for your viewing pleasure. A couple more things, and I'll try and help you out where I can. You can contact me at Kurt Hedquist at Navionics, khedquist at navionics.com. I'll try and help you out what I can and where I can. And if I can't, I'd highly recommend you talking to the people at Lowrance, their tech support department. They're really very good. Basically, what I'm going to go over tonight, what I'm going to do, this is how I set up my system and what I feel is important. And every setup will be different, settings and things like that. But anyway, this is what I'm going to be going over tonight, and how I got my system set up and what I got in my boat and things like that. So my system setup consists of some Lowrance Gen 3s with Wi-Fi, a 0.1 heading compass, GPS module, sonic hub. I got the Motor Guide XI5. That's linked into NEMA 2000 for motor control off my unit. I have the weather module, and a couple other things I got hooked up here. Everything's Etherneted together in my boat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and show you kind of how all that works and things like that. But basically Ethernet is a high-speed point-to-point data share. It's basically full data sharing. And then you got your NEMA 2000, which I got hooked up to all my units that are NEMA 2000 that need it. So example, my XI5, my sonic hub, my weather modules, Ethernet, and so things like that. My 0.1 are all hooked up. Jump back up to Ethernet. Ethernet basically daisy chains from unit to unit to unit, and anything that hooks up to Ethernet is just a connection. It goes to, oh, that's right. I forgot one more thing. I do have the structure scan 3D in my boat here. I forgot to put that on my list also. And so that's tied into Ethernet. So basically it's, if you got any questions on that, the Ethernet, NEMA 2000, things like that, how wiring, things like that, you can get a hold of me later. I'm not going to go on I'm not going to show any pictures of how I got, wiring diagrams and things like that. But a couple other things I got going on here. I got an AquaView multi-view camera. It's a pretty cool deal. And I'll show you what that looks like and how that ties into my my sonar. I got it connected into my one of my Gen 3s, and what you need is a Lowrance video adapter, and this is the part number for that. And you can with that AquaView I got listed right there, you can plug that right into your Lowrance unit or any unit. Basically, it has a camera out, be able to network a camera into it. So anyway, pretty cool deal. I'll show you that. And the other thing I got going on here is I got this all is being, so it's going from my Sonar via Wi-Fi and going to my iPad. And then then I got the Go Free app on my iPad. Pretty cool deal. If you got an iPad or a tablet, get the Go Free app on there. If you got a Lowrance touchscreen, you can sit in your house. You can power up a unit in the garage, and you can hook up to your Sonar with the Wi-Fi and Go Free app. So Gen 3, the Wi-Fi is built into it. Gen 2, you'll need the Go Free module. And so what you'll do is you will then have a Wi-Fi signal off unit. You then connect your iPad, and you then connect your iPad up to your Lowrance Gen 3 or 2, either touch. And you can then, off your iPad, you can actually operate the thing remotely from inside of your house. So if you want to practice, go through some of the settings and things like that. There's a few features you can't do with the app, but I'll show you that in a little bit here. You can also, if you have a Gen 2 keypad, and you got the Go Free app or module on there with Wi-Fi, you can view it, but you can't operate it. So the touchscreen is pretty cool. You can operate your Sonar remotely off the iPad. You can also get this for your phone. You can view it on your phone, but you can't operate it on your phone. So if you got an iPad, I believe a tablet, get the Go Free app and get the Wi-Fi. Pretty cool deal. You can sit in your house, set it up, play with it. You can go through all the screen settings and things like that and do that. I'll show you a picture. I'll show you how I connect with that here in a little bit when we switch over. When you first power up your unit, what you're going to get is basically 5 questions. Do you want to run the setup wizard? Yes or no. It'll do this if you do a reset also. These are the questions it'll ask you. Type or measurement, metric or US, ice fishing, yes or no. Primarily use, the lakes or coastal water. So basically all inland waters is lakes. Do you fish deeper than 100 feet? Yes or no. I always pick no. Everything in Minnesota and things like that is shallow water. And then you tab on setup complete. Anyway, this is kind of the itinerary we're going to run over tonight. We're going to start at the basics right here. We're going to kind of go through the individual pages and details, menu settings, our settings menu. Some of the things we're going to go through: the settings menu, system settings, show you talk about hard reset, a little bit like that, soft reset, chart settings, and sonar settings, autopilot setting, which is the XI5 for me, and then some of the network settings, and go through that. What else here? We got some more in the network and the settings down here. We'll show you in files. Files is pretty important. Waypoints, routes, and trails, how to export them, how to export a region, how to basically back up your waypoints, routes, and trail, so you don't lose them. And a lot of good data can be lost in a second. It's a computer and it can crash. It is what it is. So anyway, this is kind of what we're going to do here, and go from there. So what we're going to do is new share. There it is. Share screen. Okay, so what you're looking at right now is my iPad screen, and I've got it streamed right here. So I'm going to show you how to connect up and to this right now. So Netgear. So you should see Netgear right now. I don't want that. Wi-Fi. So what I want is, you'll see my HDS Gen 3 right here, and I want to select that. So right now I see I'm connected. If this is the first time you're connecting, you have to enter a network key or a password, and it's in the settings and things like that. I can show you where to find that. It's not that difficult. So we're going to close that out, and then hop over here to Go Free. So this is my unit dash right. That's the unit we're going to hook up to. Close this out. Square up my screen here a little bit. And 1 second here. Okay. So right now, this is what you're going to see on your iPad. And I'm actually going to use my Sonar because I'm used to running my Sonar. But down below here is the iPad app. And right now you're looking at a GPS, a Navionics, my Navionics Hot Maps Platinum map. But down below here, you see the keys. So you got all kinds of cool stuff. You can tap on the pages and you'll see, so you can see on the side over here, okay, so let's get started on the Navionics app here. Okay, we're gonna get started here. We're gonna do a live demo. What I did is I brought up my my app on my iPad, and so what you're looking at is my screen, that my iPad screen. That's again, it's hooked from my my iPad up to my computer here, so I can share the screen. And so again, the Go Free app, pretty cool. I'll show you how it works here real quick. I'm going to be using my Sonar actually to jump around the screen because it's a little easier for me to navigate and things like that. There's a few things that again I can't do on the iPad that I want to show you. That's important here. So let's just kind of go through here real quick here how this all works. If you tap on the Pages button, you see like that, you can actually switch screens, like stuff like that. What else here? Tap on the menu button. Your menu items will pop up for that. You can do a zoom in, zoom out. Here's where you can operate. And this is why I want to use my Sonar, because I want to show you some stuff in here. But you can't do any of these functions in the system control page on your app. Cancel, close it. Oops, okay. So here's a little demonstration when I'm looking at my right unit here. We have a little, just want to connect up here. There we go. So anyway, so again, you got the message there. You can't run the power, anything on the power, or power. When you tap on the power, you can't do anything. But this is some of the stuff you can bring down the menu items and things like that. So anyway, this is just kind of a brief overlay of how the mobile app or the Go Free app works in your iPad. And again, you can operate your Sonar, touch Sonar with the iPad, but you can't do a keypad version. So so anyway, that's just kind of how that works a little bit. So anyway, let's get started here. and go over some more stuff here. Again, this is my 2 cents worth on how I set it up and things like that. We talked about the setup wizard, and so let's go over the basics here, which is once you get the unit powered up and things like that, what we're going to do is we're going to hit the power button on my Sonar, so now you can see what happens here, and that will go away on your end of the deal here. So we're into the settings here, the tabs here. Settings, you tap on the settings. This will take you to your settings page. Close that out. Hit that. Standby, I'll put the unit in a standby mode. I'm not going to hit the power off because it'll shut it down. Brightness, again, brightness is right there on your screen. And you can, that's how you change the brightness. Night mode, it changes the background of your Sonar. So it takes some of the glare out, changes all your numbers to red, and so you can't see that. Touch lock, what that does is it locks the screen off. So you'll see it down below here. Touch lock engaged. Press the power button to enable touch. So let's say you want to clean your screen. You can do that way. Wireless, there's some wireless features here. It's pretty cool. You can actually hook it up to your home Wi-Fi, things like that. You can get Wi-Fi updates and things like that, or software updates, I should say. Anyway, kind of go through here some more too, and we'll touch base on this a little bit more here, but adjust split, it's a pretty cool deal. This is what I like about touchscreens. It's very easy. You just tap on the touch split. You can drag that back and forth and then hit save. And now I've adjusted it. And let's see if I can find a three-way. Okay, here, let's try this here. It's pretty cool. So we have this going on right now. And say we want to, this is how you adjust a three-way page. If you got 3 panels, hit that, hit save. Now we've just moved the screen, change the screen panel sizes. Let's do this, get out of night mode. Some other things here too. We got data overlay, and so anyway, this is where you would then you turn. If you look at the back here, you can see this is where you turn. If you want to take all the data overlay off your screen, so you just want a wide open screen, you tap on data overlay, and you notice in the background here the miles per hour goes away. Edit overlay right here. If you tap on the edit overlay, see the little blue box pop up. That is the live box. That's one that we can now edit. It's pretty cool. Say you want to move it, you just tap on it and hold it and move it around. So you can see it being moved around on my screen. So that's miles per hour. If you want to change the configuration of that, let's say you want to delete it, you tap on delete, change it, tap on change here. This is where you can change, if you want something different here. Let's change it to Sonar. Let's tap on Sonar. You can change it to depth. And now it becomes depth. Over here, then let's see here, configure. Here's where you can configure some of the stuff on the screen. Digital, you can change it to analog or a digital. Size, extra small, extra large, medium, things like that. Caption, what caption does is it adds it. You look at the top there, you see a little caption up there. I typically turn mine off. Invert text, this is where it changes from, let's say, black to a white font, and so you can do that. And anyway, I'm not going to save that. I'm just going to cancel that off right there. Do you want to save? So when you're done, it's going to ask you, do you want to save that? I am going to discard changes, but let's just jump back in there again and go into edit data overlay. Let's see here. Let's say I wanted to add something. I would tap on add, and here is where I would tap on add, click on Sonar, I would depth. Now you just saw the depth just pop up there on the left hand side there. So anyway, tap on the X, and now if you want to move that around, you just tap and hold on that. You can drag that wherever you want on the screen, and you can either, over here is where you can configure it again. Remember we talked about configuration, size, digital type, if you want bezel on there, caption, so you want the caption just gives you the feet. Go back, and we're going to cancel that out there. Do you want to save changes? Discard. So we're going to leave that right there. So anyway, so showed you how to is kind of part of the basics here of power button functions, how to set up a screen, how to edit a screen, how to adjust splits. Let's do this. We'll show you how to set up a screen here. So let's say you want a custom. What you do is you tap on the Pages button, upper right-hand corner. Right now, these are all my favorites. Right, it comes pre-programmed to these top on the right-hand side of the screen. There's 4 over here that are basically pre-programmed, set up as splits. In the middle are like hotkeys or pre-programmed favorites. But let's say you want to do a custom. What you can do is you can scroll down. You can have quite a few pages. If you tap on the plus button right there, pretty cool deal. You can drag in your various panels, chart, video, structure. Keep adding those. So you can see we got 4 panes in there right now. Let's say you want to get rid of one. Just tap on it, drag it out. So next little thing here, little orange box right above there, you get the 3 squares. If you tap and hold on that, you can see the different configurations on there. You can do a 2 small on top, 1 light, 1 long one on the bottom. You can do 3 verticals, and you can have 3 vertical panels. And again, remember to adjust the splits, you can do that. You can change the size of the panel sizes once you get this done. And then you can save it. You tap on save. And so now this will be like a favorite. It'll pop up right away because I just did it. But anyway, let's see here. So that's that. Let's say you want to edit one of your screens. Down here where it says edit, you got the wrench down below here. Tap on the wrench. See the wrench pop up here? You can either get rid of that screen, tap on the X, delete it. Here, let's get rid of that one. That one's gone, so tap on the X to delete that one. Let's say you want to change it or do some configuration on it, change it around. You tap on the wrench. Here's where you can drag it off, do like that. Autopilot, again, save. It's not, now we're looking at the autopilot screen. So Pages key, that's how you set up your screens. One other quick feature here is when you tap on the Pages button, when you're like this here, what it does is you saw the little counter wrap around there, a little timer. It's going to take and go to that screen. So let's say you got gloves on, you want to change screens rapidly. You can just grab onto the side of the unit with your hand, take your thumb, tap on the Pages button. You tap on it again, you see the little screen. Every time I tap on it, it jumps down one, and then that's the screen that it's going to pop up on. So it's basically a if you got gloves on or something like that, or you're really running rough water, you can't get the right panel touched. All you got to do is touch the Pages button, tap it twice, and then you'll see how it jumps down. So anyway, that's a quick little feature there to change pages on your screen. Anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to kind of jump through the settings on on our main pages here. So right now we got our chart is the furthest left one. We're going to tap on our chart page right here. There's some settings here that you probably should know about. Right now, of course, I got Navionics Hot Maps Platinum in there. But anyway, tap on, I get my menu, but I'll show you how to do this menu thing here. I got on mine a little bit ago. But there's some various things you may want to know about. Let's say you drag your screen around. This is a common question on Dr. Sonar, is my boat, I have to manually drag my screen in order to get it to follow my boat. Well, what happened is that you touch the screen. Your cursor is now locked on right there. What you need to do is tap on Clear Cursor. And so now it recenters you. Menu, create a new waypoint. Tap on New Waypoint. Here's where you can now create a new waypoint at vessel. So what it's going to do is going to create a waypoint at my vessel. Here's some various options you can tap on. The beauty of a touchscreen is you tap on the tap on there, and it's just like it's just like running a typewriter. We can type in seminar. Doesn't have spell correct, so enter. And also you can do some other things here too. Let's say you want to change the icon of that thing. You tap on that. Stop. You can change the color of the icon right there. You can go green, things like that. Back, new vessel. This is, new background color, new icons. So anyway, that's how you create a waypoint. Menu, new waypoint, we did that. Measure is a really cool feature. Here's where you can actually measure items. Let's say you're on a lake, body of water, and you can tap, you can drag these two bubbles around. You can actually measure an item. So let's say you're on a lake, you want to know how far it is across from one side of the lake to the other. You drag and hold on that. Look down the lower left-hand corner there. It tells you the distance and the GPS points at one and the other in the heading. So when you're done with that, you can click on Finish Menu, Finish Measuring. And so that's measuring option. Tap on Measure again. That's where you can measure an item. Other things too, I've seen people use it for big fish in a river, something like that, or a big fish. Guys fishing catfish. I saw somebody was using it for catfishing one time. You're zoomed in tight enough, you could actually measure this piece of structure that they're on, distance across it, like a log or something like that. Pretty cool deal. Menu, let's tap on the menu again here. Find. What you can do here is find from cursor. You can find waypoints and things like that. So tap on 37. This is where you can do a go to, or you can show it. If you tap on show, it's going to show you where it's at. So here, this is, I think, Pokegama Lake up in northern Minnesota. Again, you notice we did that. The clear cursor popped up. That's where the cursor's locked on. We're way down south. So if you tap on clear cursor, it's going to take us back to where we were. So let's look at that again. Find. So again, waypoints, routes, trails, things like that is where you can go through these items and find various items. That probably the most important one, of course, is waypoints. You want to find waypoints. Let's see here. Chart options. This is where some of the things that are very important things in the charts right here, especially your avionics chart, is here's one, heading up. You got three choices. You got north up, heading up, and course up. North up is where the map is always facing up, no matter what, and you're always going the opposite direction. I like heading up because I can't drive south, or I can't drive the opposite direction on my screen. So again, heading up, what that is the direction of the boat will always be pointing up to the top of the screen. Chart options. Course up, what that is, if you do say you do a course, that's the top of the screen. The direction that you're heading to will always be put into the top of the screen, so that's a course up. But I always run heading up personally. 3D just tips the screen, gives you a 3D perspective of the screen, so it rolls down. You can see what's in front of you. It's kind of it gives you a different perspective on the screen there. I generally just run overhead view. Community edits is a Navionics Hot Maps Platinum thing, and Navionics Plus is it's community generated data on lakes and things like that. So if we zoomed in here, see these little fish icons and things like that. If I turn it off, the community, that's all these little community generated information packets that people develop. People after fishing, maybe you're on there and they might have something on there that they may, they'll type in some notes and things like that. View, here's some more settings in here, a couple other settings. Shading, again, some of these are pertain to Hot Maps Platinum. Shading, you see it kind of changes the background of the lake a little bit, kind of the color background, things like that. Gives if you're on enough structure, it'll give the bottom a little bit of a 3D view or a little bit of a contrast in the colors. That's what I'm thinking of. Dynamic icons, changes a few things. I usually just leave it on. Easy view, what that's going to do, it's going to make everything bigger on the screen. Everything's just going to expand out. Let's see here. So if you have trouble seeing, you notice all the icons get really big all of a sudden. So let's say you forgot your glasses at home one day. Well, you can do an easy view and everything gets bigger. Photo overlay, again, Hot Maps Platinum. This is where you get the background. So I'll turn it off. You see the sides over here, the photo overlay goes away. Hot Maps Platinum has photo overlay of many parts of the country. Some of the places I like photo overlay is on a river, places, backwaters and things like that. They may not show up in the mapping, but they may show up in photo overlay. So if you got like backwater cuts and things like that, Hot Maps Platinum's pretty cool. I like Hot Maps Platinum. If I'm fishing a strange body of water I've never been on, a lot of islands, because everything all of a sudden looks the same, it kind of helps, you know, shows the roads and things like that. Or if there's any, you know, just different bodies of water. Like for example, I was up on a lake last summer, a lot of roads, a lot of bridges and things like that. It just helped me familiarize myself with the body of water. Let's see here. Chart options, view, fish and chip, transparency. Hold on a second. Let's turn the photo overlay back on. So you got a couple different options on photo overlay. You got land only, you got land and shallow, and you got full. So basically what it's going to do is, you notice it's given on my map, what I'm seeing, it's given the background of the lake just a little bit of a contrast in based on the depth. So back, transparency. Here is where you can change the color of the, basically the kind of see-through of the satellite imagery. So I got mine turned up to max. If I turn it down real low, you can you can actually, it takes away all the contour lines, but it actually gives you almost, you know, like a Google Earth type look of what's below you. So I typically run mine somewhere in the middle right here, so I can get a nice view of my lake map. And again, Hot Maps, if you go to like Navionics Plus card, you are not going to have any of the photo overlay, and it's going to be just, you know, all the outside of the lake will be a yellow hue color. Fish and chip, this is a very important one. Those of you that are running the, again, Navionics cards, many times I get a comment is I'm not seeing the cartography or the contours that I should be. And they're running a Navionics Plus or they're running a Hot Maps Platinum. What you got to make sure you got to do is you got to turn on your view. You got to make sure you turn on your fish and chip. If you notice on this lake here, it's the most current data, if you want to call it that. Depth highlighting, depth shading. What this will do is you can highlight a depth around the edge of the lake. So for example, on this lake right here, it's pretty shallow. But you can see it's not more than 36 feet deep. So we're going to do that. Back 6 feet. Tap on that. Back and you can zoom in here. You can see that contrasting color there. That's the depth highlighting. So it's 8 to 14 feet. So if you're a troller or something like that, it's a pretty good setting. Menu, chart options, some settings right here. This is basically what I run for my settings. I just leave colored sea-base areas on, full annotation, US, chart details, all, safety depth. Let's say you're in a body of water. You can put that to 6, and it will. It's not going to do anything right now, but just because I got my setup. But it's going to, the safety depth, anything that's less than 6 feet will be a different color. Depth contours, all. So if you're, let's scroll up here so you can see where you want to, here's a way you could maybe, you know, just if you want to turn off the contours, below a certain depth, do that. Again, I typically run mine at all. Rock filter level, if you got, a lot of times you got maps marked on your lake, things like that. You can turn that on and you can adjust that up. So if there's any rocks that are marked or things like that, it will then highlight those particular items. One other thing you gotta do too is depending on what map choice you're running. So let's say, for example, you're running a Navionics card, you gotta make sure you select Navionics. If you have a Navionics card in there and you don't select it, you're not gonna see it. If you're running a Lowrance card, you're gonna wanna run Lowrance. So here's what it looks like, of course. Switch it over. So let's say you got your Navionics card in there, and this is what the base map would be like. So, so again, you got to make sure you select the correct card when you put your mapping card in there. So tap on Navionics again. So let's kind of go through the Sonar page here a little bit. Sonar. This is where you're going to find all your settings and things like this, your Sonar settings. And what I got going on here is right now it's set in auto. It's just an auto range up in my garage, and right now. But tap on auto, and this is where you could, you know, right, you could change it from, you know, took it out of auto. Let's say you just want to do a bottom lock at 60 feet, you would set it there. Typically, I run mine in auto. Let's see here. Chirp, this is your frequencies you can select from. Now, if you got a Lowrance Gen 3, you're gonna have the ability to select high chirp and medium chirp, plus your 283 hertz. And there's an important setting on this whole deal here. I'll show you a little bit later. But anyway, tap on that. High chirp. So you can select 200 hertz, high chirp, medium chirp. High chirp is about equal to, runs in the same frequency range as 200 hertz. We're not going to go into detail about what chirp is and things like that. I talked about that a little while back, but or if you want, you know, we're not going to go into detail on that. Advanced settings. Here's where you can, you know, if you got noise, let's say you got some engine noise or some pumps running or something like that, you can change your noise rejection to, you turn it off, low. I usually just leave mine on factory default of low. Surface clarity, what that's going to do is it's going to take away that surface clutter on top up there. Scroll speed, I typically leave mine just on normal. I don't take it off of normal at all. Just leave it there. Ping speed, again, factory default is max on that. I typically leave that. One thing you do with ping speed is if you're getting crosstalk from another sonar or another boat, sometimes you can lower the ping speed a little bit and it'll change the, it may eliminate some crosstalk with the ping speed. Manual mode puts all your settings in manual. So your depth, your sensitivity and things like that. I typically, again, just leave mine in auto. Down below here, log sonar. Let's say you want to do some logging sonar. Let's say you want to create a structure map. Pretty cool deal. You can do create a structure map in on your unit, and we'll show you that. I'll show you where that is a little bit here. I'll go back up and show you where that is there. But you can create a structure map. I'm not going to go into detail on that. Doc Sampson's got some good information on his website on how to use structure map and how to create it. Goes into great detail. Again, I would recommend going there to get more information. There's just not enough time to go through all this stuff. But anyway, if you want to do that, or say you just want to log sonar, you can then tap on record. One thing I'd recommend though is if you're doing logging of sonar, is have a separate memory card in your unit. You'll see right here, it's going to save to my memory card right. If you try and save it to the internal memory of the unit, you'll fill the internal memory up real quick on the unit. And most sonar logging you're going to want to do is file format. SL3 includes structure scan 3D. Typically I do the logging of sonar. That's what I'm using. Leave the bits per sounding at 3200. What else? So then you can name the file. You can name the sonar log if you want it. So right there, again, pretty nice deal. You can tap it. I'm going to cancel that off. Let's see here. Stops. What else do we got going? View here. Oh, let's see. Okay, we did that. Sensitivity. Typically, I will run mine in auto. Just leave it in auto. There are some times where you maybe want to, if you running real shallow water, sometimes I'll lower my sensitivity down. If you lower it down, it's gonna still run on auto. It's just gonna be lower volume. Basically, it's like the volume of your radio. It's just gonna turn the volume down, but it's still gonna be. But anyway, again, I don't have a lot of time to go into the details of it. But again, it runs in auto. It just lowers the level a little bit on that. Let's see here. Sensitivity, again, I just really mind. But if you want, say you want to take it out and put it in manual, here's where you can dial it in. I tapped on the auto down here, turn the auto off. Down below here, I'm just going to leave mine in auto. I typically do. Color line, again, I just kind of typically leave mine at 76%. I found that factory defaults work very good in these units. They've been messing with them long enough that the factory defaults work very good in these units. View, here's some settings in here. So let's say you want to do a split screen. Here's how you can do a split. Right now I got no split. Zoom. So I do a split screen zoom. Bottom lock. What bottom lock is it basically keeps the bottom perfectly flat. You don't, instead of even going over any undulations in the bottom, any depth changes, it'll keep the bottom perfectly flat on the bottom of the screen. So it just draws a flat line, and then the digital depth will change. Let's see here. Let's take that. So again, I usually just no split, back, palette colors. Here's where you can change the palette colors. You know, different applications require different ones. For me, typically, factory default is #1. Let's see here. Sometimes I will jump to palette 13. It's kind of an interesting color, palette color. What that does is it makes the bottom brown. Yeah. Do something here real quick. Turn this on. It's going to, I had my sonar turned off. And that's one thing you can do too, is say you want to turn your sonar off, stop it from pinging. You can hit the stop sonar on the very bottom right there. Hit stop sonar. Back up here. So anyway, again, I'm in my garage, so it's going to take, it'll eventually lock on and give me a signal off the bottom, but it's going to take a little bit here. But anyway, palette color, that's where it is. Don't be afraid to mess with them and change them up here. Factory default is the very top one. I guess most of the time I find that a very good one. Gives you a white background. You know, a good one too, sometimes if you're running, if you want to have a nice background, turn the background to blue. Check the, you know, that one right there, what it does gives you a blue background, and everything, all your fish will stand out really well on the screen. So don't be afraid to play with your different palette colors. People see different colors, things differently. Let's see here, menu, view, temperature graph. What that's going to do, if you see on the top here, turn it on, you see a little bar up here. It's going to actually graph the temperature up and down. I don't use that. Depth line, what that does is it leaves a white line across the bottom. It's supposed to show you the true bottom of the lake. It'll draw a white line across the bottom. Between the water and the bottom, you'll see a white line. So I don't usually do that. It just adds more stuff to the screen. Depth line. Amplitude scope. This is that flasher bar on the right-hand side of the screen. It's basically, again, a vertical flasher bar. I don't use that. Preview cursor. Okay, back up here. What preview cursor is here? I'll turn it off here. If you look in the very top of my screen up there, and top of your screen, what you're looking at, if I have it on cursor only, oops, always, or cursor only right there. If you notice the, at the very top here, see a little, it's starting to show up on the top right here. What it is you can scroll back like 3 pages of history and look backwards, and what you've gone over will show up above that area up there. And let's see here. Amplitude scope, yeah, we talked about that. Cursor preview. Okay, now if you tap on the always, what's going to happen is that little preview up top, or that history, is always going to be showing at the top up there. And what it is, you can drag back. And I don't have a screen, I'm not on the water, so I don't have a bottom lock to show you. But if you have it tapped on always, that little bar up top there is always going to be there. And so for me, I just run it on cursor only. So what happens is, if I tap on the screen and start dragging it, you'll see that the box pops up there. And if I were to drag this back, it'll start dragging back. But unfortunately, I'm in my garage and it's not showing up very well. So that one there, I typically leave in cursor only. Fish ID, don't recommend it at all. Don't recommend Fish ID because Sonar has a hard time distinguishing between a fish. Well, anything in the bottom of the water, anything that the sound's going to reflect off of, it's going to come back and look at a fish, look like a fish for you. So, clear cursor, menu. Let's see, you're back. Sonar source dash left. what source dash left means is that the way I got my setup in my boat right now, again, this is my boat. I have got a unit on the right-hand side of my dash, a unit on the left-hand side of my dash, one on the bow. I have my transducer plugged into the back of the left one. If I were to tap, so my sonar source is dash left, and you can see my other units up here. My bow unit's up there, and this unit. If I were to tap on this unit, because I don't have a sonar plugged into it, or transducer, I should say, I'm not going to see any bottom with this. And let's say, let's say I wanted to see the bow unit. I could tap on the bow unit, and I could view the bow transducer on my transducer mount at the bottom of my trolling motor. And but anyway, I'm going to leave it on dash left, back. Stop sonar. If you want to stop your sonar from pinging, you just tap on stop. Let's see, structure scan. We'll go through some stuff on the structure scan menu right here. I got it stopped right now. You can see down below here. We'll start at the top here. Right now, I am in down scan right now. So you can see if you go down to about 4 menu items down, it says down. And so this is where you can change your different screens and things like that. So let's say I want to look left, right, left only, right only, and down, back. Bear with me. I'm going to do one thing here real quick here to stop something from going on here. I like the auto hide feature on my menu bar, but for right now, it's getting kind of keep that from jumping off. And I'll show you how to do that. I like that auto hide, but for this continuing on here, I'm going to turn that off. I should have done that to begin with. It'll keep that from jumping away. Again, right now we're in a down view, and I typically run my range in auto for down scan. If we tap on advanced, here's some settings over here in the advanced surface clarity. I leave that low, typically factor default, noise rejection low, flip left to right. So let's say you got your transducer, your structure scan transducer on the back of your boat, and typically, you know, the right or the typical, the cable's supposed to come out of the front, point to the front of the boat. Let's say they can't get it mounted that way, and they have to put it backwards where the cable's pointing to the back of the boat. But whoever installed it, or if you did it that way, and you can't figure out why your sonar, your side scan is looking opposite what it should be, you can actually flip it left right, so it'll turn orientation around. Again, you can do the preview. We talked about this earlier. Preview cursor only. Range lines. You can put range lines on there. I don't. Let's see here. Contrast. I typically leave mine in auto on my structure scan. I just leave mine there. Palette colors. This is a real good one here. A lot of people view colors differently. Don't be afraid to try different palette colors. Factory default on structure scan is 6. I jump between 6 and 9. Those are my 2 favorite that I can see easiest. Again, some people like the bright orange, and but personally, I like either the brown or the blue. And depending where I'm at, I'll change it up. Very simple to do. Source structure. Because I got structure scan 3D on my boat, I am sourcing. Now, structure scan 3D has a separate module that the thing plugs right into. So I have to select my structure scan source to my module. If I had my structure scan, if I didn't have structure scan 3D, I had it plugged directly into the back of one of my sonars, I would then select, let's say I got my structure scan 3D, my structure scan sonar or transducer mounted, plugged into the back of the my right unit, or left unit, I should say. I would then go here and say source the left unit. But right now, so if you got a boat and you're not seeing, say you got structure scan 3D,
you're not seeing the 3D or not seeing what you should be seeing, look at the source, structure scan 3D source. So you want to see where you're at. So that's just a matter of clicking there. So for example, if I tapped on bow because I don't have any structure scan mounted into it or transducer, I'm not going to see structure scan. So be aware of that, the source that could throw you off. Let's see here. Steering, what that is, it gives you a steering compass, a heading, and so it kind of gives you a steering page, shows you some different 3D perspective of the lake, gives you some guidance options up here, things like that. I typically don't use that. Info, if you have your a lot of times you can network in your through NEMA 2000. You can network in your engine through NEMA 2000, and you can actually see all your engine data off your Sonar screen right here. Mercury, they're coming out with a really cool one with for Mercury outboards. It's a glass. It's basically you got the whole you eliminate all your gauges, and all your gauges now show up on your Sonar screen. And again, you can see, you can change the configuration and things like that there. We're not going to go into any great detail there. Here's a cool one, video. Now this is really a slick deal. Remember I told you I got a AquaView camera mounted on my boat? So what I got, if I go to there, turn it on, and I grab my AquaView camera, so right now I can now hold this over the side of the boat and view on my Sonar a screen that I'm looking at. So I'll just kind of give you what I'm looking at here. So this is what I got set up for tonight. I got my iPad sitting down there. I got another computer sitting there so I can see what you're seeing. Then I got my regular screen right here. Got my bow unit up there and my trolling motor XI5. So I got one unit here. I got another unit here. There's my fishing partner over there. So that's kind of how it works. Pretty cool deal. And what I got is, again, it plugs into the, you get a network cable, and you plug that in. There's a little box down here I got mounted to the side of my boat. It's got LED, it's got a light on the front of it so you can brighten it up, and you can turn it on and off. It's got an on-off switch here. If I turn it off, I can turn it off. But so anyway, it's a really slick deal. Really excited to get this in the water. But the screen, you look at the screen that you're seeing, pretty cool. Anyway, let's so we went through that. Went through all those settings right there, the video. Basically all the menu items like that. So we're gonna go and we're gonna tap on the system settings. There's two ways you can find that. Right now you can see on the left-hand side there, you see settings. Where I found that, two ways you can do it. Hit the pages, hit the power button, hit settings, that'll come up. Or if you hit the pages button, you see right here, you got a sidebar over here. You can scroll up and down and find various items. So right now we are going to go into settings. Just kind of run through these real quickly. Again, these are all settings that I like to do for me personally. But text size, I start at the top here and run down. Text size is, I just keep it normal. Key beeps, I turn off. I find them quite annoying. But when you get your unit, get a default as normal. I find them very annoying. Time, here's where you can set your local time. It does get its time from the GPS module, but but anyway, if you need to adjust your time, this is where it is right here. Let's see here. This other stuff, we really won't do much there. Satellites, this is where you can see your satellite, what you're locking into for satellites and things like that. So for example, I'm in my garage right now with the door shut, and I'm locked in full on my GPS right here. You can see my estimated point of error is 11.8 feet. So that's not too bad for being in the garage, but it gives you my all my GPS data. And my GPS source is coming from my, should be coming from my, 0.1 right there. So so that's where it's coming from. If you don't have the 0.1 like I do, you just have an internal GPS, it will then say, it'll tell you, and I'll show you how to do an auto configure, but it will pick one of your, it'll probably pick, let's say it would be from the dash right, from this unit right here. So it would be on HDS Gen 3 dash right. And go with, turn that off. Let's see here. Restore defaults. Here's where you can restore defaults to your unit if you get run into any issues that you need to restore defaults for whatever reason. Your unit's kind of wacky. Let's say you do a software update, things like that. You can do a restore defaults. If you do it this way, and you can select what it'll do, what it'll change back to your settings. So right now, if I do a restore default, local settings, if I got that checked, global settings, alarm history, all that will be reset to default. But if I say I check my waypoints, routes, and trails and autopilot, and I had those checked, and I clicked OK, it would delete those items. So if you want to save your items, don't check those. Advanced, you saw me click that a little bit ago. You notice my screen, my menu button, my menu bar kept on going away. For me personally, I like that. It gives me a full screen. You can do it either manually by tapping and dragging with your finger, but I like to have it go away, and that gives me a full screen to view. So I don't have that 1 inch of screen taken up by menu items that I don't use all the time. And you saw how I tapped up there, and that popped back down. So it's just preset. So anyway, what you got going on here is waypoints. If you tap on waypoints, allow duplicate waypoint names. Control whether more than one waypoint can have the same name. If you turn that on, factory default is off. If you turn that on, you can have more than one waypoint. Actually, factory default is on. I got mine turned off. So if it's turned on, you can have multiple waypoints under the same name. If you turn it off, there's no chance of having a waypoint of the same name. So let's say you create a waypoint, and initially, and a little bit while later, you create another waypoint, and it's under the same name. You will then rename it or change the icon or something like that. I know typically, again, mine comes default on. I turn mine off. Hardware. Enable the backlight sticker. What it is, if you look in the back of a Lowrance unit, it's got that white sticker on there. If you don't want that on, you don't want the glare off. Let's say you got a walk-through windshield and you don't want the glare off the back of the windshield of that Lowrance sticker. You can turn that off, and it will then turn off that back sticker, that backlight, that Lowrance on the back side of it. User interface. This is where I told you, you saw my screen popping away. This is my favorite, one of my favorite items is the auto hide feature. And I'm going to leave mine off, just keep it from fading away. It got a little annoying there. But anyway, if you don't want your menu items on your screen all the time, turn that on, and then all your menu items will fade away. And then you tap on it to pop back up. Features, let's see here. Was there something in features? Okay, features right here. If you add components or something like that, so if I turn, say top one, sonar features off, all your sonar features will go away. It won't show that anymore. So this is where all of a sudden something kind of squirrely happens. Maybe somebody gets in your boat, starts putzing with it, gets into the menus and things like that. You're not seeing your sonar. Let's say you had structure scan, or let's say, for example, my case, structure scan 3D. At a later date, I had to go in and turn on structure scan 3D, so it shows my structure scan 3D features are shown. Let's see here. So like, for example, we don't have radar. I don't have vessel view. I do have an audio server, so I did add a sonic hub. So I had to go in and turn this on so it shows my sonic hub features. Autopilot, I got a XI5, my boat, so I had to go in there and turn the autopilot so it shows that the autopilot features are shown. Time zones, and then internet. Let's see, controls whether device is permitted to use the internet. Yes, so it's kind of, if you turn that off, you know, won't be using the internet. So, let's see here. About, there it was. About, here's where you're gonna find the software versions in your Sonar, what it's all about, what's in it, and things like that. So if you ever wonder if there's a software version that let's say you buy a new unit, you wonder what software version is in it, whether it's got the latest or not. Because sometimes these things sit on the shelves for a period of time. Here is where you'd want to
then go into your unit and go into your unit. Oops. And hold on one second here. So you get a unit, you want to find out if you got your latest software version. You would then go in here, and here's where you find your software version, things like that. You know, version 3.5, application 54.185. Some other information like that. Support. You can create a report. You can check for system updates. If you hook your unit up to the Wi-Fi, it will then go into your unit. It'll actually connect to the Wi-Fi. You can see up here last time I connected, 3/23/2016. It went in there and it checked for all my it checked to see if there was any updates available. I had one that was available, so there's a way to do it. You can download it, then download it to a card, and you can actually, rather than like before, you put it on your computer, you put it on an SD card, take the SD card out of your computer, plug it in your unit, power back up and does the update. It actually will go right to the unit itself. But it'll tell you all the software versions and things like that. Tells me everything's up to date. Let's see here. Let's see here. So it's, you know, it's kind of what's going on for everything in my boat right now. Close that out. So we went through there. Navigation. Here's trails. You know, here's you can do different trails for different days of the week. So you're a lake for the weekend or a week or something like that. You can do different trails for each day of the week. And so, so like for example, Monday, I went out. Let's say I went out fishing on Monday, and it was record. You know, Monday it was recording, and it saved it up to this palette color 11 yellow. So I go out, and I go out Tuesday. I want to find, you know, maybe you don't want to. You can refollow your old trails, but let's say you want to have a different trail for each day of the week. You can then, so I then got, say, created a Tuesday. Turn that on. We'll then create, as you're running around Tuesday, you'll then create a trail in that blue color. And then let's say Wednesday, you do a you know, tap on that. You can create another, let's say Wednesday, change the color palette, things like that. So what's over here where it says display, if you have, now it'll display on your screen, so you'll have like a yellow, blue, different colors for each day of the week. And so if you want to have each day a different color, you can do that, display it in a different color. Let's see, navigation. Logging type, for the most part on my console, I'll leave my console unit in auto. Eventually it'll start rating over itself. Now let's say my bow mount, trolling motor, I'm running my bow mount. Usually I'm running slower, just kind of creeping along, things like that. Up there, I will usually put it in a time mode. You know, you're not going a lot of different spot speeds and things like that. So I usually put it like a couple seconds. So every 3 seconds, it records where I'm at. Let's see. Chart. Chart screen. Here's some system chart settings. Range rings. What that's do is going to put range rings around your boat. If you're a caster or something like that, turn the range rings on. It'll give you some rings around the boat. I don't do that. Heading extension. What that is that extension that comes off the front of your boat. If you, at your cursor, I should say your page cursor where your boat is. If you look at your on there, and there's an arrow that comes off the front of that. That will give you kind of a estimated direction where you're going. So it's always pointing out in front of your boat. You can change the length of that extension. You can do it in you can do it like a mile, 10 miles. Oops. You can do it in minutes. So let's say where you're going to be in a minute will be right there. I typically just leave mine at 1 mile. Pop-up information. If there's pop-up information on your screen, sometimes you'll scroll around. You'll see there'll be pop-up information on your screen. If you scroll over something, all things will pop up. Here's one. Sometimes comes up. If I turned off waypoints, it won't show any waypoints on my screen.
So I've had this question a couple times, is all of a sudden somebody says, I can't see waypoints on my screen. Go into your settings and charts and see if that's turned on or off. Again, that will show waypoints on the screen. Routes, if I turn routes off, it's going to show any routes it's not going to display on my screen. Hide chart, what that's going to do is to hide the chart. Down at the bottom down here, waypoints, routes, and trails. It's a quick menu to quick way to get your menu of your waypoints, routes, and trails. You can do a couple of different things on here. You can sort by symbol. You can sort by the nearest. You can sort by symbol. You can sort by name. You can delete by symbol. Kind of an instance where you'd use this is if you're fishing. Let's say you catch a fish, and you put a waypoint on there, and it's a certain configuration or color or symbol. I should say symbol. That's what we're looking at here. Then all of a sudden, you'll say you mark a fish or you get a bite, and you hit the waypoint, you tab on it, you tap the screen, and don't hit enter yet if you get a bite. And or let's say you do, you can create another symbol for, let's say, caught a fish, bites, marked fish, things like that. You can go back into your unit and delete by symbol. So what you can do is if I go in there and tap on delete all waypoints with that symbol, boom, it's going to delete all the waypoints with that particular symbol. Same with this little cross right here. Are you sure you want to delete all waypoints by this symbol? Cancel that out. You can do a delete all. A find. Here's where if you know, enter, if you know what it is, you can enter it, the text, and search for it. Create a new waypoint. Routes. Here's where you can create. You could if you created a route, a navigational route or something like that. Let's say you got a route that through a series of islands or something like that. So you create a route through this area to follow. Here's where you can go back and find that particular route. So let's say route to the islands. You want to create a new route. Tap on that. You can either select waypoints to drag it in there, insert new waypoint, or changes, insert. So let's say we want to create a route. We got a series of waypoints in there. You can drop waypoints in there. So you do 3, insert 2, and insert, scroll up. So you can insert waypoints into a route. You can display it, or you can turn it off. And if you want it on your screen so you can see it all the time, there's where you do that. Cancel that out. Trails, again, we talked about trails a little bit ago. We won't go over that again. Sonar. There's some important stuff in here right now that I got going on here. Network sonar. Here's an example. I got my bow mount trolling motor in the front, standalone. It's not networked. I got that turned off. So that one's always using the bow mount transducer. On my 2 console units, I got the network sonar turned on because I want to be able, for example, maybe I want to see my sonar on my right-hand unit versus my left-hand unit. I can flip-flop them around. Now, remember back when I said I got my transducer plugged into the back of my right unit. My 2D transducer is plugged into the back of the right unit. And so if I were to turn network sonar off, my left unit would not look for that sonar, would not look for that sonar. So if you got just multiple units in a boat, you can leave them all on, but it's gonna, so for example, say that somebody's sitting in the front of my boat and I want them to see the transducer in the back of the boat. I would then turn network sonar on, and then it would see the transducer in the back of my boat. Overlay downscan, what that's going to do is going to overlay your downscan over your 2D page. You'll see that we're just going through the settings here, but if you want to play with that a little bit, so basically what it's going to do, you get your 2D sonar, all the colors on there, and you can overlay your down scan over the top of that. It's useful. Maybe some people find it useful. For my fishing style, I don't use it. But say you're fishing a lot of structured things like that, you like to use your 2D, and so basically it's just going to overlay your structure, your down scan right over top of your 2D page. So think of having 2D on the left-hand side, down scan on the right-hand side, and then stacking those on top of each other is what that's going to do. Fishing mode, this is important. Again, that's in that setup menu, and typically you want to do a fishing mode. You'll want to select the fishing mode. Minnesota or shallow water lakes, I typically fish. I keep it at shallow water. What it's going to do is kind of default a lot of your settings to shallow water use. If you use a general setting, it's down to 1,000 feet. Fresh water is 400 feet. So let's say you're a Great Lakes fisherman or something like that. You'll want to maybe select fresh water for a deeper depth range. So it allows the unit to pick up bottom. Let's say shallow water works better. If you change bottom depths in shallow water, it'll regain. If you, let's say, you lose bottom contact, get shallow water, something goes goofy. It's supposed to pick up quicker. So if you're in shallow water, keep shallow water. Reset fishing mode. Let's see here. Log sonar, again, it's just like we just did earlier. Use sonar log. If you wanted to view your sonar logs right there, if I don't have any. Installation, here's a kind of important one. So installation. This is where you want to select the correct proper transducer for your that you install. So now my back of my boat, I had the skimmer transducer, and if you look on your cable, it'll say HST WSBL, and you'll want to select that in your sonar installation. Say you don't do that. If we were to jump back to my sonar page, if I were to hit frequencies, I would have a 50 hertz there. If you were to tap on 50 hertz, you may find that things won't work very good. So select HST WSBL. Also, that will reference that it's got temperature built into it. So when you do the auto configuration, it'll source that. But anyway, so if you tap on it, it's not a real big deal. But here's one. Bow mount trolling motor. It doesn't have. I use the generic 83-200 setting for my bow mount up front there. Let's say you got a Minn Kota trolling motor up front. You got the connector on there. You can select 83-200. So we talked about installation, autopilot. What this is my XI5. It shows some of these features. What my XI, it incorporates my XI5, and if you got autopilot in the back of the boat, you'll have some of this other stuff too. But chart compass. What it's going to do is overlay a chart compass on your page. Autopilot control, location, bottom left. That is going to be where it pops up on your screen. Select active autopilot, trolling. Hide auto pilot bar. So it'll auto hide that, just like we did on the menu stuff. Arrival mode. There's a couple of different settings here. So let's say you got your XI5 down, you get your into your trolling run, or you're making a trolling pass or whatever. You can select what it'll do. It'll go into standby, or go into heading lock and just keep going where it's going, or it'll stop and anchor, put the brakes on, and just sit right there. I just run mine in heading lock. Anchor point setup. If I have any, you'll see if I have any waypoints stored up in my actual motor itself. This is where it will. It'll be. So you see MTGD motor guide 001. So this is a waypoint I created in my fob. It's in my unit up my fob. So it's actually stored in the unit. But when you're sitting at your screen on XI5, I use the waypoints on my sonar to go to things like that, and you can do a go to. I'll show you a little bit here about how that works. Wireless. There's some wireless things in here. I'm not going to go because I don't want to shut down here. But see, you got internal wireless turned on. Advanced wireless devices. It's this unit right here. Here's, just back up here real quick. So let's say you want to hook up to your iPad to your Go Free. You're going to need to know what your network key is or your password is. So if you tap on wireless devices, click on there. Network key, that would be your password right there. Typically, that's about the only thing I really get into. If you want to connect to a wireless hotspot, so if you want to say you want to connect to your home internet, you can do it right there. So that's how you connect up to it. Now to your unit right here. So just a little demo for you. Search, connect there. There we are. So we won't do that again. Network. If you got a lot of devices mounted to your boat, you can do an auto configure. And what that's going to do, it's going to say, do you want to auto configure? It's going to look through all the devices, that everything. It's going to tell you, is everything powered up? And it's going to search through all your devices. And so, like for your temperature source, your GPS source, things like that, it will then select the best available data source for that device, for that information. So if you get everything hooked up on your boat, hit auto configure, and it'll go through. It'll look at where everything is, temperature, GPS, things like that. It'll select, let's say, for the HST, WSBL, things like that. So for temperature, depth. Here's what I like to do. I have multiple units in my boat. So just to save a little confusion, and I'll show you a bit later here, is I name all my units. So here's, for example, my dash right, I got named dash right. My left unit, I got named dash left. My bow unit, I got named bow. Let's see here. Data sources. This can get a little bit tricky to dig into. Again, my boat, I got multiple things. Now I can show you quickly. So for example, I have a 0.1, so it's sourcing my 0.1. And all my units will be sourcing that. Sonar. It is sourcing my dash left for my water temperature. And then my depth, it's sourcing my dash left, which again, remember, that's where I got my sonar, my transducer plugged into. Let's see here. Nothing really more there. Time, it's just universal time data. 0.1, that's where it's getting my time from. Device list. Everything that's plugged, this is where I told you about the naming of things. Everything that's plugged into my NEMA 2000 will now be listed up and down the page here. So if you have all your devices turned on in your boat, anything that's hooked up to NEMA 2000 will now be shown on here. So you can see my motor guide, my 0.1, my sonic hub, my motor guide gateway. So all that stuff will be listed on here. So if I were to turn off my bow motor or unplug my motor guide, I wouldn't see those devices on there. So if you're ever curious what's there, what's not there, on device list. So if let's say you got an issue with something not working right, say your sonic hub isn't working right, something's goofy there, you can go into your device list, and if it's not showing up there, you got an issue with maybe a power issue or something's going on there, power issue or something like that, or there's an issue with your NEMA 2000. Let's see. Serial status. Right now, it's not active. I need to go out and pull it outside and connect up to Sirius Radio. But that's that. Anything else in the network we need to go over? NEMA 2000, backlight sync. you get that clicked, all your backlights will turn on and off. Backlight will sync between inside of your units here. So that's being controlled through a NEMA 2000. That was a backlighting your screen. Well, if I turn one down, the rest of them will follow, go up and down. Same thing. So typically, I believe that's defaulted on. The other ones right here, or that's their default. I don't really mess with those. Let's see where else. Went over that. There's a couple of reset modes on this thing you can do. Again, we showed you how to do a soft reset, and you can do it by the keys, by the cages, by the keys in the front of the unit. To do a soft reset, you power the unit off, and but you hold the pages button in, and then you power the unit back up, and you hold the page, you let go of the power button, then you hold the pages button in, and when what am I thinking? USA map pops up. Let go of the pages button. Same with the to do a hard reset. Now this kind of wipes out everything in your unit. You want to do a hard reset, or wipe out the unit, basically put everything back to 100% factory default. Is you turn it off, hold the plus and minus button in, and then hit the power key, let go of the power key, and keep holding the plus and minus button in until you see the USA map, and then release it, and then your unit will be doing a hard reset. It's basically just putting everything back to factory default and then some. So you want to make sure you'll back up your waypoints, and I'll show you how to do that here in a little bit. Oh, I got an itinerary here. Let's see. Network settings, we did that. Auto configure, device list, data sources. Let's see here. But yeah, we can touch one more thing on the data sources thing here. Let's talk about that a little bit more here. So data sources. So for example, on my boat, my data source for my bow unit is, if you Sonar, if we go down here, depth, because I got my front unit isn't networked, I turned the networking off, the Sonar network off. Remember that? It's only going to source that transducer up there, and that's it. I can also source the water temperature probe up there too by going into where it says water. So if I were to go to my bow unit, I would have HDS 3.9 bow, and I can then select, make sure everything's being, the depth and the temperature is coming off the bow. So if I were to tap on that, so you can, well, actually it's showing right here, it's still networking the temperature sensor that's in the unit right now. But if I were to select HDS 3.9 Sonar bow, it will then source my bow mount trolling motor for temperature. So if you're ever running into an issue where you're not thinking you're getting the correct water temperature, you got, you'd say you got two temperature sensors. You got one in the front of the boat on your trolling motor, and you got one in the back. And you're thinking, well, why isn't my temperature syncing right? I mean, it's reading 80 degrees, and you know the water's 60 degrees. Go into your data source selection and make sure you are selecting the transducer in the back of the boat. For example, here in mine, you'll see HDS 3 Gen or 9 Sonar dash left, which is my transit mounted transducer. So that's that. But you can, again, really easy way to do is just auto configure. It'll configure itself. Let's see here. Let's go look through waypoints, routes, and trails in the files menu. So let's see. X that out. Menu, scroll down at the bottom here. It says files. This is where you're going to have some various things in here. There's some cool stuff in here that's pretty important. So it shows you which memory cards you got in my unit. It doesn't tell you what they are, but just said they're right and left. Memory card left is my mapping card. I typically leave that just for mapping, and that's it. I don't store any extra data on my mapping card, just in case something happens to it, it gets corrupted or something like that. I have a separate card for everything else, memory card right, and so all my waypoints, routes, trails, settings, things like that go to my right memory card. And if I tap on that, here's a couple things on here that's pretty cool. You can actually have some different palette background colors. If you see on mine, it said KHO water background. Tap on that, it's going to use that background in your unit. So you can set that as a wallpaper, or let's see your screen. Dock Sonar, if I wanted to have, use that for a wallpaper, I could use that. Don't want to do that. So anyway, you can select, if you got a cool fish picture or something like that, you want to use as a background on your screen, you can do that. You change it from, there's a couple of factory defaults in here too. So there's water. Here's a couple I got on here. Let's see here. So I got a water droplets background. So screen always looks like it's wet. One thing you want to do is, you notice I got settings left and right. What I have is let's say you go through your unit and you got all your units all configured, you got all your screens just set up just the way you want it. And it takes some time to get the screen set up just what you want. You can actually go in and save those settings of the screens. So for example, right here, you see settings left, settings right. If I were to tap on that and click on import, it will then import those settings back into that particular unit. I'm not going to mess with it right now because I'm in the middle of this whole thing. I don't want something goofy to happen. But if I tap on import, it will then repopulate my unit with the settings that I'd gone through and painstakingly set up. Say somebody gets in your boat and jacks or something, you can then restore all your settings. I'll show you how to do that. To save your settings database is right down here where it says setting database. And here's where you would then select it to the memory card right, tap on OK, and now all your settings will be save your SD card. Same with you see one from my left unit. And again, if I can import those, I'm going to cancel that off. Let's see here. Let's say you want to, somebody gives you a bunch of waypoints, or you want to export some waypoints, upload them, things like that. Here's where you can do that: waypoints, routes, and trails. You can export waypoints. You can export all your waypoints by tapping on export right there, and it'll export all your waypoints. Typically for us, if you got Lowrance units, it's user data file version 5. You can also do an export region. Let's say you're in a particular body of water or lake, tap on export region. Little cursor will pop up here. So let's say you got a hump out here in the middle of this lake up here. You're on Leech Lake fishing a hump out there. You just want to export all those waypoints to your really good buddy, that your good friend, or you just want to save those. Let's say you got a rock pile out there that that's really good, and you can just export the waypoints that would be in that box, and then you would click on export, and it would export to, you'd want to save it to your dedicated SD card. So let's see here. Files. So that's what that is. Remember, export region. Let's see here. There's some factory default wallpapers, and you can actually find the owner's manual in this thing too, right there. If you really get stumped on the lake, you can actually find the owner's manual. It's actually built into the unit. So that's where that is. So again, waypoints, routes, and trails, how you export them, if you want to import them. You would then, if you had a card in there, you can then, here we go, memory card. What you would have is you'd have some waypoints on there. I don't have any waypoints in this particular card. Right here, so say you have somebody hands you an SD card, and it's on there right on your dedicated SD card. Here's where you would then, so if I back up here and show you, memory card right, if you click on that, you would then, if you have all these waypoints and stuff on there, you can then click on those and import them right there. So you click on a file, it would be created as a file, click on import, and it would import all those waypoints that somebody gave you. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of anything else that we can really go through. So that's about it, really. That's in a nutshell. Again, these are all items I use. This is how I set up my units. You can use this, I'll take all this information with a grain of salt, use it all you want. Get any questions, feel free to reach out to me at khedquist@navyanics.com, or look us up on Facebook at Dr. Sonar Facebook page. I help Doc manage his Facebook page. I answer a lot of questions and things like that also in the background, and a lot of good information on understanding sonar and things like that. So if you want to understand, more of what you're looking at on your sonar page, got a lot of really good articles on there. Settings and things like that too. Structure scan has got a lot of great structure scan information on there. So anyway, that's about it. I can't think of, I kind of ran through it real quickly here. You can go back, and this will all be on YouTube. Of course, you can go back and watch it and replay it and go from there. So, well, enjoy, and you guys have a good fishing season. Take care.